Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters Plus here on France 24. In this edition, we take you beyond the news in Myanmar. The Burmese military junta once again extending its state of emergency. A movement of civil disobedience and armed ethnic militia are an increasing threat to the army's hardline rule. Reporters, of course, are just not welcome. Our Asia correspondent Constantin Simon entered Myanmar undercover and filmed with the commander of one of the groups on the front line of what's become a civil conflict. The rebels have seized some 400 military bases and 30 towns since the coup of February the 1st, 2021, and the jailing of the pro-democracy icon Aung San Suu Kyi. Let's take a look at Constantin's report.
I think it's no more than it's like 400 meters from us. Airstrike, they're definitely going to be airstrike again, you know.
This is the centre of Loikaw, a city 200 kilometres from the Myanmar capital, Naypyidaw. These rebels are waging war against the country's army. They've been occupying this hotel on the front line for the past week. When the fighting's at its fiercest, bombs land every 30 minutes. The junta that's ruled the country since 2021 is determined not to lose Loikaw to the rebels.
You see over there? Myanmar army soldiers are right there. This is a 120mm shell. If it falls here, no one's safe.
Daniel once hoped to become a sailor, but 2 years ago he decided to join the rebels. The 23-year-old now dreams of defeating the generals who rule Myanmar with an iron fist.
We're in danger. The Myanmar army is bombing us continuously. I don't know how much more our building can withstand. If they bomb us again, it will collapse. We have to get back the control of our city, of our country. If the military stays in power, the oppression will continue. We don't have a choice. We have to fight until we win. We have to win.
Three years ago, these rebels, all of them aged around 20, had no idea how to use a gun. Today, they're taking up arms to restore democracy to their homeland.
Very angry, bro. I kill all Burmese soldiers and all police.
How many you kill?
I don't remember many, so many.
Commander Maui is the rebel leader. The 30-year-old has become a prime target for the army generals. He did not attend a military academy, but has risen through the rebel ranks to become second in command of an army comprising 22 battalions and thousands of fighters. But while we were filming, his troops came under attack from the Myanmar army. Suddenly, we hear heavy artillery fire. Maui's men are short of ammunition, so they try to repair these old rifles taken from the Myanmar police force. The firing's getting closer, so we have to leave. To enter Myanmar, where journalists generally aren't welcome, we spent days travelling along secret routes, escorted by rebels as we hid from army helicopters and drones. We passed devastated villages, burned to the ground by retreating soldiers or destroyed during battles. There are only ruins and silence. Myanmar's descent into chaos began on the 1st of February 2021, when the army's chief imprisoned members of the elected government and its leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. The coup marked the end of a decade-long quasi-democracy in Myanmar. Three years ago, youths took to the streets in defiance of the junta, which cracked down on the peaceful demonstrations. Today, many of those protesters are well-trained, armed members of a resistance that's taking the fight to the military. Since last October, government forces have lost around 30 cities and more than 400 military outposts. Unprecedented setbacks for an army that was once considered invincible. These Christians are among the rebels we met. They're Karenni, one of 135 ethnic groups in a country of 56 million people. Before donning their uniforms, new recruits must undergo jungle training, like these 280 youths. They've just completed 10 days of intensive training that included tough physical tasks and how to cope with being tortured. Most of these men were students, but today they'll join Commander Maui's rebel army. For 70 years, Myanmar has been torn apart by the longest civil war in history, with the Buddhist majority pitted against multiple ethnic groups organised into guerrilla armies. But today these groups are no longer fighting in isolation. Tens of thousands of young people across the country have taken up arms in the past 3 years. The coup had unintended consequences, uniting the junta's disparate opponents for the first time. These recruits are not mercenaries. They fight not for money, but out of political conviction. Their parents grew up under military rule, but this new generation of fighters has tasted a brief period of democracy, a time when Myanmar finally opened up to the world.
We have taken the holy water. We are finally soldiers. Today, my friends and I want to celebrate after all the exhausting training. We want to be happy and have fun, because tomorrow we will be at war.
These are ordinary young men into hip-hop and rock music. The junta thought young people would be reluctant to abandon the comforts of modern life and take up arms. But the opposite has happened. We return to see the leader of this youth-led uprising in the east of the country. Commander Maui has set up his headquarters in a secret location, knowing that he's a wanted man. He aims to take the city of Loikor and then overthrow the military regime. Maui's previous life could not have been more different. He ran an organic farm before leading protests against the coup and going on to form an army. Today he's taking part in a ceremony to banish bad omens. Fear of black magic and the spirits of enemy soldiers killed in action runs high in Myanmar. Maui claims to have seized more than 300 rifles from the Myanmar police and army. The insurgents desperately need the weapons to fight the junta, which has its own factories to manufacture weapons and ammunition.
Jet fighter is coming.
The army has another key advantage over the rebels: control over the skies, where fighter jets bought from Russia and China, the military rulers' traditional allies, strike rebel-held areas.
So there's a fire because of the bomb.
Fortunately, this bomb, dropped by government forces, failed to detonate.
So this is 120 pound. We have no high-tech weapon to defense the fighter jets. So yeah, stays mine. Even we have less resource, even we have small weapon, we will make sure we're gonna win this fight.
In Loikor, Maui's men have taken control of symbolic locations, the district court and the university. 2 days before we arrived, they even seized the police headquarters. The victories were celebrated on social media, where many regard Maui as a hero. In this viral video, Maui convinced 32 junta soldiers to surrender. It was a humiliation for the regime. There was no access to the internet in the regions we visited. The phone lines didn't work, and the electricity supply had been cut. While the junta struggles to control the flow of pro-rebel content, the rebels themselves have responded in kind, buying antennas from Starlink, the satellite network owned by the American billionaire Elon Musk.
What happened in Gaza, what happened in Ukraine, yeah. We are following, we are watching. Even the international community is not watching to us, we are watching to the war.
So thank you to Elon Musk.
No. I have to pay for him. If he provide me free, yeah, I will say thank you. No, there's nothing to thanks to Elon Musk, but he trusts me. He trusts me.
The antennas cost €730 each, plus a monthly subscription of €200. They enable about 60 fighters to connect to the internet.
At the beginning of the coup, the day they seized the power, they first oppressed internet phone connection because they shut down all the internet and phone line. When the coup happened, it's just like somebody switched off the light, just like right now. when we win, there will be electricity to light up every single street, even the nighttime, even the darkness. We can see each other, we can communicate each other, we can go everywhere.
In the Karenni region, near the border with Thailand, pro-democracy fighters have gained control of more territory than the junta. But across the country, the conflict has killed tens of thousands in the past 3 years. These insurgents have just seized a military base from the junta. The fighting lasted for a week and ended in a bloodbath. Before fleeing, government soldiers detonated their remaining ammunition, injuring more than 40 young rebels.
Mines are very dangerous. Some men lose their legs. This soldier's injury is not so serious. We won't have to amputate it.
This nurse has just spent 3 days in the midst of the fighting. She'd never experienced combat before.
Are you feeling dizzy?
There are no female combatants in the Myanmar army. Although their numbers growing among rebel groups, they're rarely seen on the front line.
I wanted to go to the front from the beginning, so I insisted that my commander send me there. At first he said that I was the only girl and that it wasn't the place for me, but I finally managed to convince him. Then when I arrived on the front line, the other soldiers were surprised. They thought, wow, a girl. But everyone encouraged me.
But her joy at being accepted quickly turned to despair.
When they found him, he was already dead.
Did he get hit by a lot of bullets?
Yes, a lot. He was right on the front line.
The dead soldier was the nurse's boyfriend. Days before his death, he had a nightmare, a premonition that something terrible would happen. She tried, but failed, to convince him not to go to the front.
It was too dangerous to transport him at night, with Myanmar army planes monitoring the area. So they had to bury him there, in the middle of the night, in the depths of my heart. I can't express everything I feel.
You should be proud of him.
Like this young woman, thousands of nurses and medical students have mobilized in recent months. At this small makeshift clinic just behind the front line, these two nurses work day and night.
Let's prepare the injection.
The nurses, a couple, were supposed to marry in early December, but dropped everything to come and treat wounded rebel fighters. As soon as they arrived, they realized that they too were being targeted by junta forces.
It's clear that they're targeting medical personnel. They even use spies to locate us. They find out the exact location of our hospital and they bomb the area. We've narrowly escaped several times. Usually, they locate us within a few days. And because of that, we can't stay in the same place for too long.
Hospitals, monasteries, schools, all these places should not be targeted by airstrikes, especially the medics. But these soldiers have no morals, they respect no rules. They just do whatever they want, and when they want to kill, they kill.
The nurses are in no doubt. The junta violates the Geneva Conventions, which are meant to protect civilians and the wounded during wartime. They blame junta drones and planes that fly over their hospital.
Scouting planes, we need to stay under the roof. They can find us. We need to stay. Let's go, let's go.
A constant threat from the sky. All the nurse can do is freeze, wait, and hope.
This is not the world like the two countries like Russia, like Ukraine. But in Myanmar, we are not fighting with the other country. They're killing our people, so we don't like them.
To me, they're no longer humans. We call them dogs.
The army has turned against its own people. Civilians are caught in the crossfire as fighting intensifies. This school was bombed at the end of November. A £500 bomb lies among the textbooks. Luckily, no children were present when it landed. Experts in the conflict describe the bombing as a form of punishment meted out to civilians who support the uprising. People have no choice but to flee the combat zones. In the past 3 years, more than 2 million Myanmarese have had to leave their homes. Before the war, Loikor was home to 60,000 people. Today, it's a ghost town. Fewer than 1 in 10 residents remain. Those who have stayed have nothing but contempt for the junta.
I'm happy because many military dogs are dying.
This mother is one of the few people still living in Loikor.
I have enough rice for 2 weeks. My father is old and almost deaf, so it's better for him, as he can't hear the sound of war. When there are airstrikes, we hide inside the house. I pray and believe that God will protect the house.
These children don't attend school. There are no teachers. All they have are their dreams.
When the war is over, I hope they'll finally receive a proper education. Even though my children are still young, their ambition now is to take up arms, join a training camp, and go and fight. I give them fake guns and slingshots because I don't want them to have real weapons.
Pre-wedding photos. She can't show you. See? You see? Because we win the war and we celebrate our wedding, so it's win-win situations. Yes.
If peace returns, will Maui's men lay down their weapons? The rebel leader promises this will be his last battle.
Maui cannot be like old Maui. We done a lot of things already. So yeah, there's a blood on my hand. I don't want the new generation get on the blood on their hands. We're gonna finish their fight. And we were trying to go back to our old life. Rich or poor, we don't care.
The war could last indefinitely, but these rebels have not abandoned their dream. The dream of a Myanmar finally free of the military dictatorship. The rebels have received no help from other countries. If they win, they will have done it alone.
Our report from Myanmar by Constantin Simon, Aruna Papuri and Philippe Bardou. A rare, exclusive insight into the civil conflict in that country. You can, of course, watch it again on our website, france24.com. This is Reporters Plus, taking you beyond the news. Thanks for watching. Stay with us here on France 24.